It's the Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM, one of the most talented musicians in rock and roll with King Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and of course some solo records which are being re-released. You can find him at Amazon.com. He's on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Greg Lake. Hello, sir.
Hi, Tony.
How are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Well, listen, thanks for taking the time this morning. I appreciate it. We got to talk about the 2 CD set that have both of the solo albums. They're at Amazon.com, and I was on your website earlier today. So the 2 solo albums for you, Greg, is this a process where they had been out and you wanted to look at them again and maybe add some different songs or outtakes to it, or what?
I think the reason for this, that ELP are just re-releasing their entire catalogue on BMG, and I think that everybody thought that it would be a good idea as a part of that whole era to re-release these 2 records. They are unusual records because they've got such great musicians on them, and I personally like the records, and so I'm quite proud to have them brought out again and for people to enjoy them.
I love it. So the first album and its 3 bonus tracks feature all the members of Toto with the exception of Bobby Kimball. Both albums also feature appearances from Gary Moore. So I think that this, you're right. There's something to be said about, and I'm the kind of guy, Greg, that, I may have bought the self-titled record if it was on vinyl, and then you might get it on CD, and now you can get it again with some extra material. I like having different versions of music. Does that make sense?
Well, I understand. I understand that. I mean, funny enough, I go the other way. I'm now interested in vinyl because, the other day, my friend in Italy, I was at his house in Italy, and he said, "Do you want to hear Take a Pebble on vinyl?" And I said, "Well, not really." He said, "No, you really should." And I went in, I listened. I was just amazed at the reality of the sound. And so I think there's a different value in these various formats. It depends how you feel about it. You either want to look at the original oil painting, or you want to look at a photograph of the oil painting, or you want to look at a print taken from the photograph of the oil painting. You know what I mean?
I absolutely do, and I'm with you. And Greg, personally, I love the resurgence over the past, 5, 6, or 7 years that vinyl has had. And I wonder, obviously you shared your opinion on the quality of the sound, but as an artist, when vinyl kind of was getting pushed away and 8-track and CDs came in and then digital, did you think that vinyl would come back and be as popular as it is? No, never. But now I can see why. It's not only a question of audio quality. Mm-hmm. There's a social thing about it. It's sharing music. Ever since the Walkman, Sony Walkman was invented, music changed from being something which was shared by 2 or more people in a group. You'd listen to an album. All of a sudden, you put on headphones and you're isolated. You're listening to music alone. So the beauty of vinyl is it's not only is it a different audio quality, but it's a music that as it plays, you share the enjoyment together with other people. It becomes a shared entertainment. And there is something to be said for going to a record store and for me, and I can appreciate the convenience of listening to something digitally, but the tangibility of here is this record, here are the liner notes, and it's almost like it's a time capsule featuring moments from when the record was initially recorded. And I value that stuff so much because I'm not a musician, so it kind of...
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's almost a tactile thing about it. You've got the album cover, you've got the information. It's actually a thing that you can hold and feel. Somebody used to say to me that when they bought a vinyl record, it was as if the artist themselves had made it. You know,
I love that. Oh, it's...
Now, when you use a digital download, you don't get that feeling.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also the audio quality. You know, you sacrifice so much; it sounds compressed, and like you said, you know, when you drop the needle on a record player, so long as it's a good quality needle and it hits that record, oh my goodness, you can hear all the nuances that were captured when it was recorded.
That's right. That's right. It is as if you're in the room.
Yes, exactly. There is that sense that you're sitting there watching this record be put together, and it is a great feeling. If you're just
it's like a lot of things that move forward in the technological age. Things move forward, but in a way, they don't get better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, it's like we're trying to simplify things, but we're sacrificing some integrity and quality along the way. Unfortunately,
yeah, correct.
I wonder, and I don't want to dwell on it, but obviously with the passing of Keith Emerson, and the last time the group was was together was 2010. Before, you know, obviously before Keith passed away, Greg, and that last show in 2010 for the 40th anniversary, had there been talks in between those years for Emerson, Lake and Palmer to do anything, or was that really it in 2010?
The story of the LP was that every few months we would get some or other offer to reform, and you know, there was constant speculation about it. But I personally, as time went forward, Keith's general health was suffering. It was obvious that he was a troubled soul, and to be perfectly frank, you know, his death didn't come as a total surprise to those of us who are close to him.
Sure.
It was, of course, tragic, and it was extremely sad, and it's left a big black hole, as it would a member of your family dies.
Right.
But at least, thank God, he's left this legacy of all that great music that he wrote. And, you know, I think that's a wonderful thing for him and his family, his children, and it's a wonderful thing for the public. It's just what a great thing. I feel very lucky personally to be able to have done that myself, is to have left behind at least some sort of gift for the future generations.
And you absolutely have, with the work you did in King Crimson and ELP and on the solo records, which again are re-released and available at Amazon.com, and you can also go to Greg Lake's website. I think that however you can have an impact on this world, and you've been able to do that, Greg, for so many years. And you're right, you really have left a mark in the music world that people will be able to. And I think about this with kids now. I have a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old, and I think about these interviews that I do, and I save them, and I preserve the audio so that in years to come they can listen to them, and hopefully they can be entertained, because I love doing it. So I take my hat off to you for continuing to make and appreciate music, and for the work that you've done. Don't take any time off, okay?
No time for the wicked.
Greg Lake, listen, all the best to you, sir. Thank you for the time this morning. Truly appreciate it. And we'll pick up the solo records available now with the bonus tracks, and continued success and good health to you, okay?
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Take care, sir. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Bye now.
Bye.